So I went to Animazement 2016 and I had a pretty good time. I took a lot of pictures so that one of my friends who wasn't able to make it would be able to share in the experience just a little bit. There were schedules up outside the rooms to let you know what was going on. The first thing I went to was a ball joint doll thing, and what I thought was most interesting is that they were posable dolls, and they were posable because of the rubber bands that were inside them, like some kind of fancy rubber. So I thought that was really cool. They were also really detailed. After that, I just kind of wandered around for a bit, meeting people, and then I went to the Jacobells event, where they were showing off their samurai swordsman acting, and they were also selling some fancy towel things, but I didn't buy any from them. I also met up with my old friend Olga. She's always fun. And we hung out for a little bit, just kind of wandering around, going through the dealer's room and just seeing what there was. But overall, I did have a pretty good time on Friday, even if I did spend some of it standing in line waiting on the concert. The concert was really awesome. I felt a little bit guilty taking a picture here and there, but I had a really good time there, and Sho Asano and his concert is one of the highlights of my year each year. And it sounded like he would be back next year, so I'm really excited about that. I got to meet up with some friends and play Senpai just a little bit because they were coming in kind of last minute, and that meant that they didn't really know where anything was and they needed to find things, so I got to help them find their way about. And yes, that one friend did insist on making a face in every picture, but that's okay. Other than that, I just kind of had a good time. This was on Saturday, and I met a lot of new people and did new things, but I don't know how to put it. A lot of Animazement and conventions in general is just meeting people and having fun. They did close off that section with the famous Assassin's Creed photo that really should never have happened in the first place because that was really dangerous. After that, I was hungry, so I had lunch at the Plaza Cafe, and I thought, well, if it's good enough for the Rose Bride, it's probably good enough for me. I had a hamburger at the time, but what I really wanted was an omelet, but they weren't serving those that late. And yeah, I just kind of met people, wandered around. This is outside the front of the convention where I was meeting some cosplayers. And yeah, I also came across a demo in the artist alley of a game, and I had fun with it. I couldn't tell right away what the dominant strategy was going to be, so I picked up a copy for myself. And I don't know, there was a lot of really good cosplay there this year, even if some of my pictures don't really do it justice. And this was a puppy. And yeah, just lots of really cool people to meet and talk to. There were also some protesters. They were kind of annoying, but that's just kind of the way that they go. I had dinner or lunch right after that and went back to convention. I got to meet up with Neko and some other friends and just kind of wandered around. I did get to hang out with Michelle a little bit, though not as much as I might like, and I got my towels signed by these fellows, and they were looking a little bit stressed because that was probably the third or fourth picture that we took. I also bought a Doujin game for probably more than I should have, but I wanted to buy something Madoka while I was here, and I thought to myself, when will I ever see this kind of thing again? So I went ahead and got it. Most of the rest of the convention, I mostly spent my time just walking around and meeting cool cosplayers who had nice costumes, or what I thought were nice, and just kind of met with people and did stuff. There was one thing I did, and that was, well, I tried to go to a Monster Hunter event, but it was overpacked. But I ended up just kind of wandering around and meeting more people more, and that was also fun. Other than that, well, I did go back that one time and get an omelet, so I got that from the Plaza Cafe too, so that got checked off. And then I just kind of met lots and lots of people, some of them adorable and some of them just, people. I also stopped by Amy's booth to say hi. She sells chainmail jewelry, so I'll put a link down below. And a shout out to the Art Institute of Raleigh-Durham. They were one of the sponsors this year. I did go by the Jacobel's last performance, but I was really just passing time until the closing ceremonies. So I went by the game room just a little bit, and I also kind of popped back and forth between the game room and some kind of karaoke lip sync thing, dance battle. I don't really know. I was just passing time because I remember those towels I mentioned. They were having a contest to see which person could sell the most, and whoever sold the fewest was going to be forced to wear a costume, a Sailor Moon costume, during the closing ceremonies. And I don't think any of my pictures came out all that well, but it was one of the Jacobels who was the one who wound up wearing Sailor Moon, but he was still really dignified, so that was really cool. Other than that, she asked me to censor out her feet because she'd already taken off her hooves. After that, con was over, but I still had dinner, and I also bumped into an old friend who was doing some paperwork with someone for Be the Match, and since that was part of my experience, I'll put a shout out to them in my links below.